Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're heading to Spain, specifically the world of exhibition booths.
Oh, Spain.
Yeah. We've got a listener who's thinking of hitting a trade show there, and we're going to arm them with all the info they need.
That's like a plan.
We're using this article, Exhibition Booth Production and Construction at Hotels and Congress in Spain.
Okay, so like the nuts and bolts.
Totally, but it's way more than that. It's like history meets cutting-edge tech, all with this eco-conscious vibe.
I'm intrigued.
Right. Did you know that modern trade shows actually trace back to the 1800s? Things like London's Great Exhibition in 1851, that kind of set the stage.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
So where does Spain fit into all of this?
Well, they were right there, embracing this whole global trend. I mean, think about it. They've got amazing venues like Fira de Barcelona.
Ah, yeah, Fira de Barcelona. That's a big one, right?
Huge. And their culture is known for being so welcoming. Plus, Spain is seriously leading the way in eco-friendly booth designs.
Like what kind of stuff are we talking?
Oh, they're using biodegradable plastics, recycled wood, you name it.
That's impressive.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Spain is already known for its beautiful landscapes and focus on sustainability.
Right. It's like a natural extension of their values.
Exactly. Okay, so Spain's got the vibe. What about the business side of things? Why is it such a hot spot for these events?
Well, first off, their infrastructure is top-notch, so logistics are a breeze. Plus, you've got that strong tourism industry. People love going to Spain.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Tapas and trade shows, what's not to love?
Ah, exactly. And it's not just about the pretty booths. This industry brings in serious revenue for Spain.
Oh yeah, the economic impact is huge, right?
Massive. Think about it, not just from the booth fees, but all the ripple effects on the local economy. Hotels, restaurants, transportation, everyone benefits.
It's like this whole ecosystem that thrives around these events.
It really is. And get this, the industry's projected profitability is exceeding 6%. That's a lot of growth potential for someone like our listener who's considering diving in.
That's a really good point. Seems like now could be the perfect time to get involved. Okay, let's zoom in on the booths themselves. What goes into creating these incredible spaces that draw people in?
It's a whole symphony of services. We're talking graphic design, event services, even furniture rental plays a huge role.
Furniture rental, real.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't believe how much thought goes into it. Like, imagine a company like Barcino. They're known for their sleek, modern furniture rentals.
I'm picturing it now. Everything perfectly coordinated, creating this cohesive look.
Exactly. It all works together to tell the brand's story.
So it's like a carefully choreographed dance from the initial idea to the final setup.
You could say that. It's about creating a narrative, pulling people in, making a lasting impression.
Speaking of impressions, the article really emphasizes the growing importance of sustainability. It's more than just a trend in Spain. It's like a key selling point.
Totally agree. Companies are catching on that eco-friendly practices aren't just good for the planet, they're good for business, especially with today's consumers.
Absolutely. So what stood out to you from the article in terms of how Spanish companies are doing this, like specific examples?
Oh, they're getting super creative, like using biodegradable plastics, not just for little things, but for constructing entire booths.
Wow, so the whole thing can be composted afterward.
Pretty much. Talk about minimizing your footprint.
That's amazing. Okay, with all this focus on innovation and sustainability, who are the major players driving this shift?
One company that's really leading the charge is Atom Expo Stand. They've been in the game for over 20 years and have a reputation for award-winning designs.
Award-winning, you say? What makes their designs so special?
They're masters at blending aesthetics with functionality. One of their recent award-winning designs actually incorporated interactive elements, sustainable materials, and this truly immersive experience. Visitors were blown away.
That sounds incredible. Okay, let's say a company decides to exhibit in Spain, and they choose Atom Expo Stand to build their booth. What does that process look like?
Well, it all starts with concept development. The exhibitor figures out their core message, identifies their target audience, and sets a budget.
So it's kind of like laying the foundation for a house. You need a solid blueprint. And at this stage, tailoring the concept to resonate with the Spanish audience is crucial, right?
Absolutely. You've got to consider cultural nuances, design preferences, even language. It all plays a role.
That makes a lot of sense. So once the concept is locked in, what's next?
Then it's time for data asset collection. This is where they gather all the visual stuff, logos, product images, brochures, you name it. Consistency is key here. Everything needs to align with the brand.
It's like painting a cohesive picture.
Exactly. And then comes the exciting part, design creation. The booth starts to take shape, considering things like space allocation, visual hierarchy, architectural elements.
This is where those 2D floor plans and 3D renderings come in handy, right? Like a sneak peek into the future.
Exactly. The exhibitor gets to see their vision come to life and give feedback. Then comes the big day, on-site installation.
That sounds like a logistical feat.
It can be, but experienced installation teams are pros at handling it. They know the venue regulations, safety stuff, and how to keep everything consistent with the brand.
They're like the stage crew making sure the show goes off without a hitch. What happens after the event is over?
Well, there's dismantling and evaluation. The booth comes down, parts go back to storage, or get prepped for the next event. Then it's time for a post-event debrief to gather feedback and analyze what worked, what could be improved.
It's a continuous cycle of planning, executing, and learning. It's fascinating how much goes into these booths.
It really is. But of course, it's not all smooth sailing.
Right, there are bound to be challenges.
Yeah.
What are some things exhibitors should be prepared for when bringing their vision to life in Spain?
Well, those logistical complexities we talked about earlier, they can be a real headache.
I can imagine. It's like coordinating a giant puzzle with pieces coming from all over.
Exactly. You've got tight timelines, customs to deal with, potential delays. It can get stressful.
And then there's keeping up with those ever-evolving customer expectations.
Yeah.
They want more than just static displays.
Right. Today's attendees are looking for interactivity, personalization. They want to be wowed.
They want to be part of the experience.
Exactly. And that brings us to another challenge, staffing. Finding skilled professionals who can handle all the different aspects of booth design and management can be tough.
Especially with the industry growing so rapidly.
Exactly. It's a competitive market for talent. And of course, there's the tech side of things.
Right. Making sure all those VR demos, AR experiences, and touchscreens work flawlessly. That can be a challenge, especially in older venues.
Yeah, you need reliable Wi-Fi, enough power supply. It's all got to be carefully considered.
And then there's safety and compliance, making sure everything meets the venue's regulations.
Absolutely. Safety should always be a top priority.
So navigating this world is no small feat. But despite the challenges, the benefits seem pretty incredible.
They really are. We talked about the economic impact, the job creation, but think about the potential for exhibitors to connect with a global audience. It's a chance to build brand awareness and generate leads.
It's a win-win for everyone involved. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about what's on the horizon for this industry. What trends are shaping the future of exhibition booths in Spain?
Well, one trend that's gaining serious traction is the move towards modular design.
Modular designs, what's the appeal there?
They offer flexibility, adaptability, and sustainability, all crucial factors these days.
I can see that. They're easier to transport, assemble, disassemble.
Exactly. Plus, we're seeing more booths becoming fully realized brand environments. Imagine spaces that go beyond just showcasing products. They actually tell a story, embody the brand's personality.
It's like taking the essence of the brand and turning it into a physical experience.
Precisely. And thematic immersion is another big one. Think of a booth designed around a specific theme that transports visitors to another world.
Ooh, I love that. It's about using design to evoke emotions, tell a captivating story.
Absolutely. And of course, we can't forget about technology.
Right. We touched upon AR, VR, and interactive displays earlier. What other innovations are pushing the boundaries?
Well, augmented reality and virtual reality are becoming more and more mainstream. AR can overlay digital elements onto the real world, letting visitors view products in 3D or in simulated scenarios.
Like bringing the digital world into the physical booth.
Exactly. And VR can create completely immersive experiences like virtual tours or product simulations.
Wow. Talk about taking things to the next level.
Right. And interactive touchscreens are becoming ubiquitous. These give visitors the freedom to explore at their own pace.
Makes the whole experience much more engaging.
Definitely. We're even seeing gesture-based interfaces emerging, letting people navigate displays without touching anything. Very relevant in a post-pandemic world.
That's fascinating. Technology is truly transforming this entire industry.
It really is, and it's just the beginning.
The possibilities seem endless. But before we get carried away with future visions, let's bring it back down to earth. If someone is thinking about exhibiting in Spain, what key takeaways should they keep in mind? What are the best practices for success?
Well, as we've emphasized throughout our conversation, early planning is crucial. Secure your booth space way in advance, especially for those prime locations.
So we'll procrastinate.
Exactly. And create a realistic budget. factoring in everything from construction and transportation to marketing materials and staff. Better to overestimate than be caught short.
Solid advice. What else?
Clear and consistent communication is key. Keep everyone in the loop, your team, suppliers, the event organizers, make sure everyone's on the same page.
It's a team effort, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the design, really think about your target audience. What message are you sending? What kind of experience do you want to create? What will resonate with them?
It's like telling a story with your booth.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to use technology strategically to enhance that story and make the experience more interactive.
But remember sustainability.
Right. Choosing eco-friendly materials and practices is essential. It's not just a trend, it's the right thing to do, both for the planet and your brand image.
Shows your audience you're a responsible company.
Absolutely. And finally, remember to measure your success. Track your metrics, get feedback, use that data to continuously improve.
It's a constant learning process.
It is, and the more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to create those impactful experiences in Spain.
So to sum it up, do your research, plan carefully, be creative, embrace tech, prioritize sustainability, and never stop learning.
That's it in a nutshell. Follow those principles and you'll be well on your way to creating a booth that truly stands out and achieves your goals.
It's all about creating that memorable experience that leaves a lasting impression on your audience.
Exactly. And I think Spain, with its unique blend of history, culture, and innovation, is the perfect place to do that.
Well said. Speaking of Spain's unique offerings, I want to dive into some specific hotels in Madrid that are highlighted in the article as great venues.
Oh yeah, those are some fantastic options.
The article mentions the Madrid Marriott Auditorium Hotel and Conference Center, NH Hotels, Hotel Meliá Avenida America, Hotel Eurostars Madrid, and the Courtyard Madrid Princesa.
Those are all top-notch choices.
What makes them so ideal for exhibitions?
They've got state-of-the-art facilities, spacious event spaces, and they're all conveniently located. They can handle those big exhibitions with ease.
So exhibitors can rest assured their events will be in good hands.
Absolutely. And each hotel has its own unique features. The Madrid Marriott Auditorium, for instance, has a diverse range of spaces, perfect for all kinds of events, while NH hotels are known for their prime locations and focus on business travelers.
So there's a hotel to suit every need and preference.
Exactly. And the article specifically recommends Adam Expo Stand Solutions as a partner for booth design and construction in these locations.
Makes sense given their expertise and track record. They probably know those venues inside and out.
They do. Their knowledge can be incredibly valuable for exhibitors who want to tailor their booths to each specific hotel.
Okay, I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear some practical tips. Let's jump into the FAQ section of the article and tackle some common questions.
Sounds good to me.
First up, the question that's probably on everyone's mind. How far in advance should you book your booth space?
The article recommends at least 6 to 9 months in advance, especially for popular venues and those prime spots.
So no last-minute scrambling.
Definitely not. And here's another one. Is it super expensive to add interactive tech to your booth?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Well, it depends on the complexity. Basic screens or touch tablets can be pretty affordable, but those fancy VR or AR setups, those can cost a bit more.
So it's all about finding the right balance between budget and impact.
Exactly. But keep in mind, the potential return on investment from engaging visitors with cool tech can be huge.
Right. It can lead to more traffic, more leads, more business overall.
Absolutely. Okay, here's a practical one. Do you really need professional installers, or can your own team handle the setup?
That's a good question.
The article strongly recommends going with the pros. They understand the venue regulations, safety stuff, and how to make everything look perfect.
It's better to be safe than sorry, especially with those complex installations.
Totally agree. Now let's talk about measuring success. What are the best ways to know if your booth was effective?
That's a key question.
The article recommends tracking a mix of things: lead generation, sales after the event, social media mentions, overall brand exposure.
So looking at the big picture, both the hard numbers and the overall buzz you created.
Exactly. Okay, how about this? How do you effectively integrate AR or VR into your exhibit?
That's a hot topic. Those technologies have so much potential, but you got to use them strategically.
Right. The article suggests working with specialized tech providers who can guide you through the process. It's also key to have a clear goal for the experience. What do you want visitors to take away from it?
It's got to align with your overall strategy.
Exactly. And don't forget about practical considerations, like having enough space and a reliable Wi-Fi connection.
Makes sense. All right, last question. Are those freebies and promotional items worth the investment?
The age-old question. The article says they can be valuable, but only if they're chosen thoughtfully.
So not just random trinkets.
Right. Think eco-friendly items that are useful, memorable, and reflect your brand.
Like reusable water bottles or those seed paper notebooks.
Exactly. It's about making a positive, lasting impression.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from the history of trade shows to the latest trends. It's clear that Spain's exhibition industry is a really exciting space to be in.
It is, and it's constantly evolving, which makes it all the more fascinating.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder.
I'm all ears.
If you were an exhibitor prepping for a trade show in Spain, what one thing would you include in your booth to make it truly unforgettable?
Ooh, that's a good one. It really gets the creative juices flowing.
It does, and it highlights how crucial it is to think outside the box in this world.
Absolutely. It's all about pushing boundaries and creating those captivating experiences.
Well, we'll dive into that question further in part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll explore some of the most innovative and exciting booths in Spain.
Can't wait.
Until then, keep brainstorming and let those creative juices flow.
Whew, we covered a lot of ground there. It's amazing how much goes into creating those show-stopping booths.
It is, but let's not forget, there are always hurdles along the way. What are some challenges exhibitors might face when bringing their vision to life in Spain?
Oh, those logistical complexities we touched upon, they can be a real beast. Imagine juggling materials from multiple suppliers, maybe even from different countries, each with its own rules and timelines.
Right. It's all got to come together on a tight schedule, often with a tight budget, too.
Exactly. Then there's customs to navigate, transportation to arrange. It can feel like you're orchestrating a giant symphony.
With a lot of moving parts.
You got it. And then there are the visitors themselves. Customer expectations are constantly evolving.
Oh, for sure. People want more than just pamphlets and static displays these days.
Right. They're tech savvy. They want to be actively engaged. They want to be wowed. It's not enough to just passively observe anymore.
It's all about creating a truly immersive experience.
Exactly. And that brings us to another challenge. Staffing. Finding those talented individuals who can handle the design, the construction, the management, it's not always easy.
Especially with so much demand in this rapidly growing industry.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the tech side of things.
Right. All those VR demos, AR experiences, touch screens, making sure they all work seamlessly can be a challenge, especially in some of those older venues.
Oh, yeah. You need a strong Wi-Fi connection, enough power. Those details are crucial.
And of course, safety and compliance are paramount, making sure everything meets the venue's regulations.
Absolutely. Safety should never be an afterthought.
It seems like there are a lot of potential hurdles to overcome. But despite those challenges, exhibiting in Spain has some pretty amazing benefits, right?
It does. We've already talked about the economic impact, both locally and for exhibitors, but think about the opportunity to connect with a global audience. It's a chance to really put your brand on the map.
It sounds like there's a lot of potential for growth.
There is. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about what's next for this industry. What trends are shaping the future of booths in Spain?
That's what I'm excited to hear about. What can exhibitors do to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, one thing we're seeing more and more of is modular designs.
Modular designs, huh? What's the draw there?
Flexibility, adaptability, sustainability, they really hit all the key points.
I can see that. They're easier to transport, easier to set up, easier to break down, and less wasteful overall.
Exactly. And we're also seeing booths becoming fully realized brand experiences. It's not just about showing off your products, it's about telling a story, creating an immersive world that embodies your brand.
I love that idea.
Right.
It's about making a connection with visitors on a deeper level.
Exactly. Another trend we're seeing is thematic immersion. Imagine designing a booth around a specific theme, something that transports visitors to a whole other place.
I can already picture it. It's all about sparking their imaginations and creating a truly memorable experience.
You got it. And of course, technology is a huge driver of innovation in this industry.
Absolutely. We talked about AR, VR, and interactive displays earlier, but what other exciting tech is on the horizon?
Well, augmented reality and virtual reality are really coming into their own. AR can overlay digital elements onto the real world, letting visitors interact with products in a whole new way.
That sounds amazing. It's like bridging the gap between the physical and digital world.
Exactly. And VR can create truly immersive experiences like virtual tours or product demos.
Wow, those are powerful tools for storytelling and engagement.
They really are. Interactive touchscreens are becoming even more sophisticated, allowing visitors to really explore at their own pace, and we're even seeing the emergence of gesture-based interfaces.
Gesture-based, so you don't even have to touch anything.
That's the idea. It's a great way to create a more hygienic and contactless experience, which is really important in a post-pandemic world.
Makes sense. Technology is really changing the game in the exhibition world.
It is, and this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, before we get too carried away with all the future possibilities, let's talk about some practical tips for exhibitors who are planning their booths in Spain. What are some key takeaways for success?
Well, I can't stress enough how important early planning is. Secure that booth space well in advance, especially if you're after a prime location. And don't forget to create a realistic budget.
Right. Don't underestimate those costs.
Exactly. Another crucial aspect is communication. Make sure everyone involved is in the loop. Your team, suppliers, event organizers. Clear and consistent communication can prevent a lot of headaches down the road.
It's all about working together as a team.
You got it. Now, when it comes to designing your booth, it's so important to think strategically about your audience and your message. What do you want visitors to take away from the experience?
Right. It's all about creating a story that resonates with them.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to utilize technology to enhance that story and make it more engaging.
But don't forget about sustainability.
Absolutely. Choosing eco-friendly materials and practices should be a top priority. It's not just good for the planet, it also sends a positive message about your brand.
It shows that you're a responsible and forward-thinking company.
Exactly. And finally, remember to measure your success. Keep track of those metrics, gather feedback, and use that information to constantly improve.
It's all about continuous learning and improvement.
You got it. The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to create those show-stopping booths in Spain.
Okay, before we move on to the FAQ section, I want to circle back to something we discussed earlier. Those specific hotels in Madrid that the article highlighted as prime exhibition venues.
Oh, yes. Those hotels are definitely worth considering.
Can you remind us which ones were mentioned?
Of course. The article mentioned the Madrid Marriott Auditorium Hotel and Conference Center, NH Hotels, Hotel Meliá Avenida America, Hotel Eurostars Madrid, and the Courtyard Madrid Princesa.
Those are some pretty impressive options.
They are. Each of those hotels has state-of-the-art facilities, spacious event spaces, and they're all in convenient locations. They can handle those large-scale exhibitions with no problem.
So exhibitors can rest assured that they're in good hands.
Absolutely. And each hotel has its own unique features. The Madrid Marriott Auditorium, for example, has a huge range of spaces that are perfect for all kinds of events, from small meetings to large conferences. And NH hotels are known for their prime locations and their focus on business travelers.
There's something for everyone.
Exactly. And don't forget, the article specifically recommended Atom Expo Stand Solutions as a partner for booth design and construction at these hotels.
Yeah, their expertise in those venues would be a huge asset.
Absolutely. Okay, I think our listeners are ready for some practical advice. Let's dive into that FAQ section and answer some of their most burning questions.
Sounds good to me. Let's start with a basic one. How far in advance should exhibitors book their booth space?
The article recommends booking at least 6 to 9 months in advance, especially for popular venues or those prime locations everyone's after. That way, you're not scrambling at the last minute.
So planning ahead is crucial.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's another question that comes up a lot. Is it really expensive to add interactive technology to a booth?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. All that fancy tech can add up.
It can, but it really depends on the complexity. Basic screens or touch tablets can be relatively affordable, but those more advanced technologies like VR or AR, those will require a bigger investment.
It's all about finding that sweet spot between your budget and the impact you want to create.
You got it. But remember, the potential return on investment from using cool tech to engage visitors can be huge.
Right. It can really boost traffic and lead generation. Okay, here's a practical question. Do you really need to hire professional installers for your booth, or can your own team handle the setup?
The article strongly recommends going with the pros. They have the experience and the knowledge of venue regulations to ensure everything is set up safely and correctly.
So peace of mind and avoiding any potential disasters.
Exactly. Okay, here's an important question. What are the best ways to measure the return on investment for your booth?
That's a big one. How do you know if all your hard work paid off?
The article recommends looking at a variety of metrics, both quantitative and qualitative. On the quantitative side, you've got things like lead generation, sales after the event, website traffic, and social media mentions.
Those are the hard numbers, right?
Exactly. But it's also important to gather qualitative feedback, like through visitor surveys or social media monitoring. That can give you insights into how your booth was perceived and what really resonated with people.
So it's about looking at the whole picture.
You got it. Now, here's a question that comes up a lot with exhibitors who are embracing those cutting-edge technologies. How do you effectively integrate AR or VR into your exhibit?
That's a good one. Those technologies have so much potential, but you've got to use them strategically.
Absolutely. The article suggests partnering with specialized technology providers who can guide you through the process. It's also important to set clear goals. What do you want visitors to experience? How will the technology enhance your overall booth narrative?
It all has to tie together.
Exactly. And don't forget about the practical considerations, like having enough space and a reliable Wi-Fi connection. Okay, last question. Are those giveaways and promotional items worth the investment?
Ah, the classic question. Everybody loves free stuff. But do those giveaways really make a difference?
They can, but the article emphasizes choosing them thoughtfully.
So not just random trinkets.
Exactly. Instead of generic stuff, opt for eco-friendly items that are useful, memorable, and reflect your brand.
Like those reusable water bottles or sea paper notebooks we talked about earlier.
Exactly. It's about leaving a positive and lasting impression.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this FAQ section. Hopefully this gives our listeners some practical guidance for navigating the world of exhibitions in Spain.
Absolutely. And I hope they're feeling inspired.
Me too. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Imagine you're an exhibitor getting ready for a trade show in Spain. What's the one thing you would include in your booth to create a truly unforgettable experience for visitors?
Ooh, that's a good one. It really gets those creative juices flowing.
It does, right? It
Yeah.
really emphasizes how important it is to think outside the box and push those boundaries in the exhibition world.
Absolutely. It's all about creating those captivating experiences that people will remember.
Well, we'll explore that question further in the final part of our deep dive, where we'll showcase some of the most innovative and exciting booths in Spain.
I can't wait to see what they've come up with.
Until then, keep brainstorming, keep innovating, and keep those creative juices flowing. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on this amazing journey through the world of exhibition booths in Spain, and now it's time to talk about that wow factor.
The thing that makes a booth truly unforgettable.
Exactly. It's about more than just showcasing products. It's about crafting an experience that sticks with visitors long after the event is over.
You're right. It's about creating a connection, something that resonates on a deeper level.
I remember going to a trade show a while back, and there was this one booth that just blew me away.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
They transformed their space into this sensory garden.
A sensory garden.
Yeah, complete with aromatic plants,
Yeah.
soothing sounds, interactive displays. It was all about highlighting the natural ingredients in their products.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
It was. And it wasn't just visually stunning, it also told a story about their commitment to sustainability and their connection to nature.
It's a perfect example of how a booth can become an immersive experience.
Exactly. So thinking back to that question we posed earlier, if you could design your dream booth in Spain, what would be that one element that would make it truly stand out?
Okay, I've given it some thought, and I think I'd go with a captivating holographic display.
Holograms. That sounds futuristic.
Right. Imagine a central stage where holographic projections tell the brand's story, showcase their products, highlight their values, and it wouldn't be static. These projections could interact with visitors, responding to their movements and gestures.
That sounds incredible. It'd be like stepping into a sci-fi movie.
Exactly. It'd be this fusion of cutting-edge technology and creative storytelling.
Visitors would be mesmerized.
And it wouldn't just be holograms. We could integrate touchscreens, augmented reality overlays, maybe even personalized content based on what each visitor is interested in.
It's about layering those technologies to create a truly unique experience.
Exactly. And I'd also want to weave in elements of Spanish culture and design, maybe draw inspiration from their architecture, art, or music.
That's a great idea. It'll really ground the experience in the local context.
And of course, sustainability would be a core principle. We'd use recycled and biodegradable materials, energy-efficient lighting, the whole 9 yards.
Showing that you can be innovative and eco-conscious at the same time.
Absolutely. And we wouldn't forget about the human touch. We'd have a team of knowledgeable and engaging staff ready to interact with visitors, answer their questions, and guide them through the experience.
Because at the end of the day, it's those personal connections that really matter.
You got it. It's about creating a space where people feel welcome, informed, and inspired.
Your dream booth sounds incredible. It's a perfect blend of creativity, technology, and sustainability.
Thanks. It was fun to let my imagination run wild.
And it really highlights how much potential there is in the world of exhibition booths. They can be so much more than just static displays.
They're a canvas for storytelling, brand building, and creating those lasting connections.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into exhibition booths in Spain, I hope we've inspired our listeners to think outside the box and explore all the amazing ways they can bring their brands to life.
It's an industry that's constantly evolving, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And Spain, with its rich history, innovative spirit, and world-class venues, is the perfect place to make it all happen.
Couldn't agree more.
So whether you're a seasoned exhibitor or just starting out, embrace creativity, embrace technology, and embrace the power of experience.
And most importantly, have fun doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired for your next exhibition adventure.
Adios!
Until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep those creative juices flowing.